Welcome. It is great to have you join us. My name is Nicole Mitchell. I'm part of the Uncovering Greatness team, and I also have worked with an organization called Advanced Coaching and Leadership Center, which is based in Dallas in the US. And pretty much what we do is we work with the zones. So which zone are you operating in, the red zone, the yellow zone, or the green zone? And we just help you get out of the way of you. And today we're going to be talking about dream and intention and vision and how they all link, and what are some of the things that you can do to make those link. So if you can hear me okay, if you can type into the chat box just hello, that would be awesome, just so that I know that everything's working. So if you can type hello into the chat box. Okay, great. A thumbs up is also great. So thank you. Okay. So great. So there's lots of hellos. So it is great to have all of you join us. And yeah, really excited today. I have Margriet joining us. Margriet is has recently in December qualified as done the Vital Fundamental courses from 1 to 5. So just really, really excited to have her join us. So Margriet, will you please introduce yourself?
Thanks, Nicole. Yeah, so my name is Margriet Barnard. I'm actually a chartered accountant by day and a processor by night. And yeah, so I started this journey with Nicole about 2 years ago, and yeah, it's just really changed my life, and I'm so grateful for Nicole and the ACLC team, and yeah, everyone here in South Africa as well that supports us, and yeah, is here with us on the webinar also today. So I look forward to an amazing webinar. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Margriet, and it's great that you're able to join us. So thank you for that. And just really the process that we're going to take you through is a lot around the zones. So where do you sit? Like, are you in the red zone? Are you in the yellow zone? Or are you in the green zone? And then when you can identify where you're at, how do you shift? How do you move to a better position? How do you get yourself into the green zone? And so pretty much one of the things around you versus you is that we just help people get themselves out of the way of themselves so that they can move out of the red zone. It means that they're in the right place at the right time with the right things happening. And, you know, in the red zone, you're wrong place, wrong time, wrong things happening. And yeah, just I think it's so important today, especially with what's happening in the world with COVID and everything that's going on, that people are aware of what zone are you in, what zone do you want to be in. And when you can shift yourself into the green zone and do it on a conscious level, it becomes a lot easier to shift, and it becomes a lot easier to get there. And so pretty much that's the theme that you'll see we work through every single week. And so, you know, the first thing I would encourage you, come back next week. We'd love to help you stay in the green zone. And we'd also love to hear from you as to some of the things that you've learned and some of the things that you've created. So one of the things that I would like to ask everybody is, what zone would you like to be in? Would you like to be in the red zone, yellow zone, or the green zone? You know, red zone being wrong place, wrong time. And yellow zone is very cautious, kind of a little bit, you know, should I step out? Shouldn't I step out? And then the green zone is right place, right time. So if you can type into the chat zone what zone you would like to be in, that would be awesome. So we've got a number of people, Kirsten, Nicolene, Fiona, Delian. So somebody says gold zone. So yeah, on top of the green zone, we have what we call the gold zone. And the gold zone is where miracles occur, and miracles and magic just happen. But essentially, if we can live the majority of our life in the green zone, automatically what will start to happen is we will start to see gold zone things happen, and magic just happens. And so it is a really, really awesome place to be, as green zone. Right place, right time, right things happening. And so today we're going to be talking a little bit around the dream, intention, and the vision. And it's important to understand, what is the dream? What is the goal? What is the outcome that you want to achieve? Because a lot of people today know that they want something better, they just don't know what it is. They know, I don't want this. I don't want what I have. But they're not clear on what is it that I want. And that's okay. The biggest thing is that, can you set yourself some things that you'd like to achieve? So, in terms of last week, we touched around, in terms of your business, what are some of the things you'd like to see happen in the year? What are some of the things that you'd like to do? What are the things that you'd like to be? And if you haven't, and you weren't with us last week, I'd really encourage you, go back and watch last week, and just get an idea of some of the things that you would like to create, because it doesn't have to be this big, wow goal. It could just be something small. I want to get I use the example, I want to get a new printer in my business, or, whatever it is, something that I can work towards. And so what is the dream? Are you clear on what the dream is? And I know certainly with Margriet, she set herself the intention that she was going to do the Vital Fundamentals courses last year and get qualified by December. That was the goal, to become a processor. So Margriet, in order to do that, did you create a dream or a goal in order to do that?
Yes, most definitely, yeah. So it was this, I know some people refer to it as a big, scary dream. But yeah, it was a big dream and a big goal that I've set for myself for the year, is that is really what I want to do, because it changed my life, and I want to help others and change their life. So it was a thing in my heart. So yeah, it's this big dream that I had. Yeah. So definitely had a big dream.
When we look at, and thank you, Margriet, so when we look at children, they all have dreams, they all have goals. And you can ask any little person under the age of 5, or 10, what is it that you want to become when you grow up? Or, and even, my youngest is 17, and one of her goals is to go to the CrossFit Games. She has that goal. And she's working towards that, and continuously she's practicing to get towards that dream. So she set herself a dream. So she's created a goal in her mind, and now she's going to set the intention. So the intention pretty much is the switch that is going to drive the vision. So in terms of, she's set that intention. This is what I want to do. And it is the intention that takes our vision and helps it to become real and makes it become life. So it is important to understand that you have the dream, and then the intention is basically the one to create something, and this is what it's going to look like. And in terms of my youngest, with her wanting to go to the CrossFit Games, what is she doing? She watches the CrossFit Games. She sees those things on TV. She's creating a vision in her mind as to what it looks like. And she's setting that intention that that's what I want. So now I'm going to work towards that. So now, what does she need to do to create that vision? Well, she needs to practice. She needs to put it into place. And she needs to actually go to CrossFit every day and understand what it means to practice. She needs to learn all the movements. She needs to understand what it is that she's actually working towards. And Margriet, I know this would be true for you, but certainly often we set ourselves a dream and we create the intention, this is what I want to do, and then we create a vision of what it looks like. Then when we start doing, is it anything like the vision?
No, not necessarily. And like say in real life, definitely not. But but for me, it's like Alan says, C. Walters, that wrote the Secrets book. He says, like, the vision is the software that programs the mind. So for me, my dream and my intention that I set and my vision that I had was sort of that kept me going through the hard times. And that, yeah, I just said, that's my dream, that's my picture, that's the vision that I have. And that's sort of through the hard times that, yeah, helps you keep going. So yeah, and that's, yeah, that's what I can say.
And would it be fair to say that along the way you often lost sight of the vision? Would that be fair to say?
Yes, most definitely. And along the way, definitely questioned myself and say, like, what on earth am I doing here? Where did I start? Yeah, so yeah, definitely.
So if you can relate to what Margaret's saying, and in terms of anything new that you've started in your life, whether it be a sport, whether it be a business, whatever it is, if you can relate to what we've been discussing, if you can type relate into the chat box, that would be awesome. Okay, Zelda, Tanya, Jillian, Kirst, Leon, Nicolene. Okay, great. So a lot, Dirk, Yvonne. Okay, great. Michelle, relate big time. Okay, great. And I think this is a key thing, is a lot of us have a dream. We know what it is that we intend to do. We have a vision of what it would look like, and we start going through the process. And as we start, it's nothing like what we thought it would look like. It's nothing. And like I think of, and especially with CrossFit, I know that I started doing CrossFit, and you know, you see these athletes on TV, and they make it look so easy, and it's, you know, it's just, oh, anybody can do that until you go and try it, and then, oh my goodness, it's like looks like an ostrich stuck upside down, and it feels all over the place, and you're actually like, what am I doing here? This doesn't make any sense. It looks so easy, and I can't do it. And unless you can hold on to the vision of what you want to create, it becomes really difficult. And one of the reasons why I asked Margaret along was, did she lose track of the vision along the way? Because it's so easy to get lost in the process of, this doesn't feel right, this doesn't look right, I'm going to change and I'm going to stop, or it's not what I had planned. And often we see that in terms of in business, and pretty much in anything that people do. They start something and then kind of go, oh, well, it doesn't feel right and it's not working out the way I expected, so I'm going to stop. They lose sight of that vision that they created in their mind, instead of going, I need to practice more. I need to practice more. I need to practice. And unfortunately, in business, one of the things that we see is that business is the least practiced game of life that there is. Because where do you practice the game of business? Other than when you're in real life and it's actually happening to you, where do you get the opportunity to practice business? And even school will say, we'll teach you about business. You don't ever get the opportunity to practice it. Sales is a hugely charged area for a lot of people. A lot of people go, I don't do sales. And the reason for that is because we get told that we can't sell. We get told in school, you can't sell, you can't do this, you can't do that. So what happens is we become very negative towards it and we don't do it. And then when it comes to actually physically having to do it, now suddenly we've got to do sales. It's like, I don't want to do that because I'm no good at it. I don't do that. Instead of looking at it going, what is the vision that I want to create in my business? What do I need to do that? And I'm going to practice until I get unbelievably good at it. And when you have the vision of what it is that you're wanting to create, it's a lot easier to know what it is that you're going to practice. So in terms of your business, are you going to create, I don't know, if I go back to something small, like we're going to get a printer. In my business, that's the vision that I have. I have a little black and white printer. I want to upgrade it to a fancy color printer that does 3 times the amount of prints. okay, this is the vision of what it looks like. Now what do I need to do? I need to increase my sales in order to generate enough money to pay for that printer. What do I have to do? I have to go and practice. Practice, practice, practice. The more I practice, the more competent I will get at sales or generating income, whatever it is. But if I don't practice it, I'm not going to become any more competent at it. And how do you take something to mastery? So the first thing would be, if we look at the word competence, what does competence mean? And competence would be, the definition is you can demonstrate possession of a high quality and a high degree of excellence, ability, and skill. So can you do that? Are you competent in an area? Because if you cannot demonstrate a high quality ability, you're not competent in the area. And a lot of people today think that they're competent in an area because they have the information in it. You know, I know about sales. I know you've got to talk to this many people, and I know that you've got to do this, this, and this. And they think that they're competent in it because they have the information. But they are not out there practicing it. They're not out there making cold calls. They're not out there going, I'm going to go make a fool of myself and practice doing it right until I can practice doing it wrong until I can get it right. And competence is actually demonstrating that ability. So when you become competent at it, you can do it. And so what the intention does, if you've got the dream is I want the printer. The intention is I need to go out and sell. And the vision is what the printer actually looks like, because I want to be able to print faster and do a whole lot of stuff, and it's going to make my life easier. So so if you understand that when you have the dream and the vision, the intention in the middle is what's going to drive you. And that is where a lot of people fall short. And the other thing that happens is, in between, we have this thing called time and space. A lot of people refer to it as in the business world, they refer to it as lag time. But essentially, it's time and space. So are you giving yourself enough time to demonstrate competence in an area? Are you giving yourself enough space to demonstrate competence in the area? Because sometimes we need the time and the space. So I make a fool of myself making sales calls. So I need to set aside some time, and I actually need to give myself some space. So I'm going to go outside where no one in the office can hear me, and I'm going to give myself the space so I can make a fool of myself, and I can make the sales calls, and I can practice them and get good at them. But at the same time, I also am going to look for mentorship to help me get better at the things I'm practicing. Because if I go out and I want to become a professional golfer, and I'm practicing the wrong things all the time, and I'm giving myself all the space and time in the world, but I don't have help with practicing the right things, I'm going to do a lot of wrong things, and then I'm eventually going to give up. And I'm going to land up in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong people. So when you are learning a skill and you are getting an ability in your business, it is critical that you get mentorship. Because if I go to CrossFit and I feel like I'm an ostrich with my head in the sand and I have, legs up and I have no idea what I'm doing, if I don't have a mentor to help me through those difficult stages, I'm going to give up. Because I can't see myself getting my body into that weird and amazing position that all the other people have. Or weightlifting the bar and going, how am I ever going to put weights on the bar? Or, in terms of business, it's like, oh, it's so easy for, Apple, they have all this wonderful marketing and it's so difficult for me. No, they've just practiced it more than you. But they had help from the right people when they were practicing. So are you doing that in your business? Are you creating those things as you go along. And, you know, just Margaret, in terms of your journey, you had the dream, then you had the intention, and you've had to practice, right? It did, correct? And maybe share some of the things that you learned along the way.
Thanks, Nicole. Yeah, so definitely agree with you. Yeah, so I had this big dream, this big goal, this vision, and yeah, it took a lot of determination, lots of practice to do it. So every time, and then we'll do a session or practice a process and review it. So, and then go back to you being my mentor, then go back and say, okay, did I do this right? What can I do better next time? And then take my lessons and take it into the next session and take the learnings from there, and just keep on practicing. And I was also thinking, like, if I think about my accounting business, when I studied accounting way back when, it was also like practice, and go back and review it and check, what did I do right? What can I do better? And check with my teachers and professors back then and say, okay, so can you do this? Because if you practice incorrectly, you will carry on incorrectly, and then you will then not set up correctly, and you will fail and feel like a failure because you can't get it right. But if you check in with someone and say, what's happening here? Please, can you help me? And just ask for help, then you can get set on the right road again. Yeah, so definitely. I think I freeze. There you go. Okay.
Yeah, and just along the way, you never got frustrated. You've never got frustrated with me or any of your teachers, or wanted to kill us, or didn't believe anything we said, or anything. None of that stuff happened, right?
No, not at all. I did not question anyone. No, there was definitely no frustration or almost giving up along the journey, and going dig myself a hole in the earth and just disappear forever.
Yeah, so I think it is important to understand that does happen. You are going to get frustrated with the people who are helping you. You are going to get irritated. You are going to quit. One of the biggest frustrations was around, but you're asking me a question. Why won't you just tell me? And I would continually asking her the questions, because so if she finds the answer herself, then it's going to mean more to her. If I just come and tell her, it doesn't have the same meaning. So it is important to understand that when you are helping people, ask them the questions, help them understand why it is that they're doing what they're doing. And because when you help somebody understand, you are almost connecting the dots between the dream, the intention, and the vision. Because, like I said, the intention is that switch that's going to keep you driving towards the vision. And it is important that you help people along the way. And it's that switch that's going to help you create the reality of it. So, if you've got the dream of, I want a printer, I've got a picture of the printer. Intention is, I've got to go out and I'm going to go make sales. I'm going to connect with my mentor. I'm going to get irritated with my mentor. I'm going to get frustrated with them. I'm going to love them. I'm going to kill them. Oh, I never want to speak to them again. And, oh, wow, it works. Oh, cool. And now I'm suddenly more excited to work towards that. And suddenly it becomes more and more a reality as I move closer and closer towards that vision, and that vision becoming a reality. So it is important to understand that is the process, and you need to practice. And, in terms of when we start looking at things, when we're practicing, the next thing we need to look at is, what mood level are you practicing in? And are you practicing in sheer frustration, irritation, anger? I don't want to do this again. I'm going to kill everybody. Or are you practicing with that, I'm actually want to create something This is the intention. I know it's frustrating for me. It's hard. It's difficult. But I'm going to keep on doing. And my eldest daughter used to do a lot of swimming. And one thing that I loved about her when she was learning to swim and perfecting swimming techniques and things like that is that the coach would teach her in the session, in the time frame, and then afterwards she would practice until she got it right. The number of times I would go to the pool to fetch her, and she was still in the pool practicing like a tumble turn and trying to get her feet in the right position and trying to get stuff. Used to drive me nuts because I'd be like, I've got to wait for you. But what did that do for her is that she got better and better, and it became so much easier because she'd then go back to the coach the next day and say, okay, I've practiced, now check this, see what I've done, see how I've improved. And then she'd start, okay, what else can I do to get better? Okay, great, I can start timing how fast I can do the turning. And she would do things like that almost on a subconscious level without even realizing that that's what she was doing. And I used to, like now when I look at what I know, I was like, wow, if I could have taught, there were so many things I could have helped her understand and made her so much more aware of when she was doing it. She could have done it more consciously. And a lot of the times, especially with young people, children, teenagers, they do things on a subconscious level that they don't actually understand what it is that they're doing. They do it naturally. And as adults, we kind of question stuff. We go, well, why do we do that? Why should we do that? How, and we, well, I'm not doing that. I don't like you. You irritated me today, so I'm not going to practice today. And I'm pretty sure nobody on this call has ever experienced any of those emotions. Nobody. So if you have experienced something like that, just type emotion into the chat box. That would be great, because it is great to understand that there's a lots of us that feel like that. I make jokes about it, but there are a lot of us that actually feel like that. So, we do get irritated, and we kind of, that mood level is, well, stuff you. I'm not going to practice because you irritated me today. That's the wrong mood level to go in with. It's like, can I be grateful that you actually irritated me? Because now I'm going to start to question, what is it that I can do to get better? How can I do this better? How can I come in tomorrow and not irritate you and not have you irritate me? And because 9 times out of 10, the reason why we got irritated and frustrated is because we know within ourselves on a subconscious level that we haven't practiced enough, we haven't done enough, we didn't do what the coach said or the mentor said, or we gave up too soon, or that's why we actually got frustrated. It was all our stuff. So, it is important to understand, are you looking at those mood levels? Are you looking at it and going, wow, this is exciting. I'm glad the coaches irritated me or my mentors irritated me in my business, because now I can actually get better. And the other thing, keep going back to the vision. What is the vision I want to create? If you find yourself getting irritated and frustrated or upset and depressed, go back to the vision of what it looks like. Because when you can see the vision, you can keep doing it, and you can fire up and ignite that intention in you. So it is important in your business to keep driving that and keep understanding that. And mood also energizes the vision. How many of you have something that you absolutely love doing, and you can do it for hours and you don't even realize that you've been doing it for 3 hours? If you do have something like that, and time just goes, like there's no time, it's just type love into the chat box, because that's where that energy, it drives the vision. If you are somebody that loves to do craft work, for example, people spend hours doing craft work. And why? Because they can see the end vision. They can see what it looks like. And that time just goes so fast, and they spend hours and hours doing it. And they don't even realize how much time it's taken. Time is like, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. They're giving them, because they enjoy doing it, they love it, can see the vision. They give themselves enough time to finish the project. They give themselves the space to create, to put all the craft pieces together or whatever it is. And in terms of your business, you need to do the same thing. You need to find a way to make yourself love what it is that you are learning, so that you can practice, so that you can create more, you can do more, and that mood level will help you drive that vision. It'll give you the energy and it'll energize you to create the vision. And then along the way, it's like, are you acknowledging how much you've learned? Are you acknowledging the skills that you've had along the way? Because it is important to understand, am I moving from incompetence to competence? Am I implementing more? Am I understanding more? And one of the things that when you start in your business in terms of sales, are you listening to stuff? Are you reading stuff? Are you getting tips and tools from wherever it is? And then are you actually looking some of the words up? Are you starting to understand what the words mean? Because one of the things that I know is that if you don't understand something and you don't look the word up, what it's going to do, if you don't understand a word or you don't comprehend it, it is going to activate the negative aspects of life. It is going to trigger and remind you all the times where you felt stupid, all the times that you couldn't do something, all the times where, the teacher made you feel dumb in school, or your friends laughed at you because you didn't know something. If you don't understand a word, if you don't understand a term or what it means, it's going to activate all those negative experiences that you've had in life, and you're going to go, oh, I don't like that. And it's a lot of these things happen on a subconscious level. I mean, money's a great one. You just have to say the word money or sales, and people immediately go, oh, I don't want to know about that. Or there's so many things around that. And why? Because there's a lot of uncomprehended terms around money or around sales or around closing deals. So because we don't understand, it turns on that negativity and we don't want to look at it. And I think a great example of that for me is if you speak to somebody that they know everything about something. So you talk to somebody that they know a lot, like they have all the information, they can tell you all the stats, all the statistics, everything. And then you actually ask them, how much of that did you do? Oh, no, I didn't do that much. It wasn't really for me. They never took it to competence. They never took it where they implemented all the information. Why? Well, there's a strong chance that there wasn't something they didn't understand. If I go back to CrossFit, if I don't understand how to get my body into a certain position, I don't understand why it needs to be there, I'm going to go, oh, no, I don't like that. I don't want to do that because I don't understand enough. In business, it's the same. We often hold ourselves back from doing deals because we don't understand, and we don't know that we don't understand, and so we kind of just brush it off and don't do anything with it. So if this is making sense to you, if you can type sense into the chat box, I would love to know if this is making sense to you. I'd appreciate that. Shillian says sense. Leanne, Tabo, Michelle, Tanya, Zelda. Okay, great. Awesome. So Margriet, when you started your new subject of learning about processing, did you have to look up a whole lot of words?
Most definitely. It was almost like learning a new language. And it was interesting to also thinking back, like previously when I used to read stuff, I would just like, skip over the big words and just like, get think like, oh, I got like a general idea. It's okay. But learning processing and working towards my dream of being a processor, yeah, I had to learn a whole lot of new words. And now when I read something, I definitely go look up the word if I don't. Even if it's a word that I thought, yeah, I know what it means, but I still go and look up the word because there's always something new to learn. So it's completely actually changed how I read and yeah, how I yeah, study. So it was a journey and a big lesson.
And do you find that you have more confidence with reading and having conversations and communicating because you understand words better? Just in general, not
Yeah.
outside of processing.
Yeah, in general, yeah, because where previously I would have been where people used words which I don't understand, it was like a big term in their business, I would have previously just ignored it. Well, no, now I will go and actually ask them, well, can you just explain to me what is that term in your business, or what does that word mean, or I'll go look it up. So yeah, it definitely increase my knowledge, increase my confidence, yeah, increase my vocabulary, yeah, in my communication. So it was definitely awesome because communication is the foundation of business and relationships. So it is a big building block.
Great, thank you. And it's so important, and it's practice, 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 because I know for myself, certainly there were a lot of words like I'd look it up and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And I'd read it. And then, a month later, you go back and you read the word again. And it's like, oh, I can't remember what that word means. And it was like, it's okay. I give myself permission to learn it again. So I'm going to look it up again. And there were several words that I still have to look up and like, do I actually understand what they mean? And as I've gone through that, I've been able to expand my knowledge. It's given me more confidence within myself because I can communicate better. I understand things better. So it is important that practice, 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 understand what it is that you are looking at, understand what it is that you're learning, giving yourself time and space to actually learn those things. So when you start reading a book, in terms of like a business book, are you giving yourself the time and space to actually implement some of those things? A lot of times people read a book, and Rich Dad Poor Dad is a great example of people reading books, and people say, yeah, I've read that book. And then you ask, or that my favorite is, I have that book. And then you ask people, well, have you read it? And about 50% of the people say that they've read it. And then they had the dream, they had the intention because they went and bought it, but they didn't have the vision of themselves actually sitting reading the book. They created the intention, I want the book. They never created the vision of, I'm actually going to sit down and read the book. So, and they didn't give themselves time and space to actually do that. And then once you've read the book, did you create the intention that I'm going to do something with what I read in the book? I mean, I think I don't know what the stats are, but it's probably like 3% of the people actually implement what they read in the book. And which is pretty scary because, I mean, in terms of the number of books that are actually being sold versus the number of people that are just getting the information to people that are actually implementing and using the information and actually taking it to a level of competence. So in your vision, are you creating a level of competence in that vision of what it would look like for you? So it's important to give yourself that time and space to read the book. And then are you looking up the words? If you don't understand them, are you looking them up? Are you aware of the things you don't understand? And Michelle said, most times you need to read a book a few times before you get it. And that's absolutely true, because you need to give yourself the time and space to actually absorb the things that you've read and then plan, how am I going to implement it? So I know for some people what they'll do is they'll take a chapter and they'll read that book, that one chapter, and they will implement everything that they learned in the chapter before they move on to the next chapter, especially in terms of business books. So are you giving yourself the time and the space to do that? Are you like, okay, for this week, I'm going to read this chapter, I'm going to read it 5 times, and I'm going to implement, 2 things that I learned out of the chapter. because now I've got space and time to read it. I've created the intention of what I'm going to do. So it is important to understand that. And Doreen said, I normally listen to audiobooks, which is great. And then the same principles apply, is that, are you giving yourself the time and space? So if there's a word that you hear that you don't understand, are you pausing and looking it up and going, okay, and rewinding and going, okay, let me make sure that I heard that correctly, or we're just moving on to the next thing? And then are you giving yourself space to actually implement, I don't know, one or two things that you heard, or one or two things that you read? So it is, same principles apply in terms of, are you actually giving yourself time and space to do that? And a lot of people go, oh, you know, I have the intention to buy that book. Or I have the intention to read that book. That's the vision I'm creating. I'm creating the vision of reading the book. But the dream was actually buying the book because I want to implement some of the stuff and learn it and make a difference in my life. So it's so important that you connect all those dots with the right energy, the right things, the right practice, and just be clear on what the dreams is. Be clear on, what is the dream? What do I want to go back to? And often when I know with a lot of materials and things, you get lost along the way of, it's difficult, it's hard, I'm irritated, I'm frustrated. Go back to, what was the original dream? Have you started to implement any of that? Have you started to create any of that? And then, so it's just important to go back to the original dream, intention, and vision. And what is it that I've created? And as we started the year, I've been thinking about how do we implement that in everyday life? And what are the things that we need to practice? And like I said, one of the things that one of the goals that you'll see in You versus You is to help people shift from red zone to green zone so that they can be in the right place, have the right income, have the right communication, have the right things. And so I sat down with my husband, Barry, and he's just, for me, he gives me so many ideas and helps me implement them. And he's just been amazing this week. And he helped me create what we call a one-page document. And I'm so excited because we're going to launch that today. And it's a 30-day challenge. And it's the 3 key things that are going to keep you in the green zone. And it's the first thing that, in terms of what we're going to launch, is, can you practice presence? Because presence is a key ability. And this is my opinion, it is the number one ability that is going to affect anything you do. If you want to drive, you need to be present. If you want to see business deals coming your way, you need to be aware of those business deals. Good, bad, indifferent. You need to be aware of, what is that business deal. If you want to fall in love, you need to be present for the people around you. Do I like that person? Do they make my heart go boom? You need to be aware of those feelings and those emotions that are inside of you. So in order to do that, you need to be present. So in the 30-day challenge, we're going to set you little targets every day that you can practice, 1 minute of presence, 2 minutes of presence. And every single day and on a challenge, you can tick it off as you do presence today. And then the next thing is gratitude. And in terms of, what are you grateful for? So 10 things that you are grateful for every single morning. Why? Because it sets you up to have a great day. And then who are 2 people in your life that you're grateful for? Because it's important to acknowledge the people around you, because you can't do life by yourself. And especially with COVID at the moment, a lot of people are struggling in terms of, I'm all by myself, and they forget that, somebody connected with them, so who are 2 people that you're grateful for? And gratitude is such a key thing, because it'll shift your mood level. there's two emotions you cannot experience at the same time. One is fear and the other is gratitude. So if you are in a place of fear, if you just shift to gratitude. So how do you get good at that? Well, you need to practice it. You need to take it to competence. You need to practice gratitude all the time. How do you get good at presence? You practice, practice, practice. And the power of doing it for a 30-day challenge is that you're just going to do a little bit every single day. Not, I'm going to sit down and do, 20 minutes of presence and I'm going to become, it's like going to the gym 3 days in a row and lifting 100 kgs. You won't be able to walk afterwards. You don't want that. So it's just a little bit, little bit, little bit. And then in the evenings, can you write down 10 wins, achievements, things that you did in the day or things that you got better at? And the power of that is you start to acknowledge the things that you're good at, the things that you've done well, the things that, and you start to shift yourself out of this red zone, negative, oh, I'm no good, nothing happened in my day, it was boring and nobody loves me and woe is me, and that kind of victim mentality. So it's that, and the biggest thing is that it's practice, practice, practice. And we want to take it to competence, because a lot of people know the value of gratitude. They know the importance of it, but they don't do it. A lot of people know the value of celebrating wins. I'll give you a great example of celebrating wins. Have you ever experienced something where you are so and you just want to tell the whole world, and you're like, yes, this is so exciting, and the first person you walk up to and you go, oh, I'm so excited, and they go, yeah, I did that last week. And you hit that level of, you go from this, oh, flip, and you just go, and it can almost instantaneously knock you from being this big to being this tiny little dot. Well, that's the importance of celebrating wins. If you do not celebrate the win, you will feel that negativity yourself. You will create it for yourself, because it is such a key thing around celebrating wins, because you allow yourself to experience that bigness, that excitement, that joy. When you don't allow yourself to do that, you automatically make yourself small again. So it's important to do that. And it's hard to do in this day and age, because we are all so busy. We all have so much happening. We don't always create the time and space. And, things just happen, and one thing onto the next day, and suddenly 3 weeks go by. I mean, I was like, next week's February. Like, oh my gosh, we've already done a month of 2021. Oh my gosh, we've already done almost a whole year of lockdown and COVID. It's like, that's the scary thing. It's like suddenly it's so fast that it's important to give yourself the time and space to become competent in those areas. So I'm not sure, Sully or Tabo, if you guys are listening, if you could put, Sully, thank you, you're a star. It's going to be called the Green Zone Daily Rituals, this 30-day challenge. And in order to access it, you need to click on the link and put in your name and email address, and then you will be able to download the Green Zone Daily Rituals. There's some videos that you will see, and you will be able to watch the videos. That explains a lot around presence, that explains a lot around gratitude, wins. And then there is the sheet that you can fill it out. So just really, really excited. And I know, Margriet, you have had huge success with doing wins and gratitude and creating journals every single day. So maybe you can share some of your experiences in practicing those daily rituals.
Thanks, Nicole. Yeah, I actually love doing presence and gratitude every day, because, like I said, just puts me in such a great mood. And I do my gratitude early in the morning, and then before I go to bed. And in the morning, it's like still like waking up, and you're like, maybe didn't sleep so lekker, and you feel like, ugh. But when you actually do the journal, it just puts you back into that space of saying, okay, but what am I grateful for today? So, and just really pulling yourself together, and just because we have so much to be grateful for that we miss it a lot. And then at the end of the day, like you said, you would like go through a very busy day, and it was maybe not went exactly like you planned, and you feel like, ugh, it was not a good all because I had this fight and I got irritated with that one. But if you look at the wins and what you actually completed and what you achieved, it was like, yes, you actually like put yourself, lift your mood up and put yourself back into the greens, and it's like, yes, I actually did have a good day, and then you can celebrate it. So yeah, for me, it kept I sort of kept myself accountable, if I can put it like that, and just staying grateful, staying present, and just celebrating my wins. And also it helped me looking back and say, okay, what did I achieve so far, and what did I do this week, or what did I do on the day that I can celebrate, and that was a win, instead of just going, oh, I just had like a normal boring day. Actually, it was not normal and not boring at all. So it keeps you focused, so it helps me to focus as well.
And you also started putting in some accountability with other people, and having people be accountable to you in terms of gratitude exercise. And what was the value of having that accountability?
So that definitely served as a great reminder, because there was even days that I forget that you, I don't know, there's days that you oversleep and that you just jump out of bed and start to the road running. So that served as a great reminder for each other, and just reminding each other, say, did you do your gratitude today? Did you do your wins tonight? And keep each other accountable that way, and then you can actually celebrate together, and instead of just celebrating on your own, which also helps because you're celebrating with the right people.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such a key thing, is finding the right people to celebrate with. Because like in that example I gave you with, you're super excited and someone goes, that's boring, or whatever, it completely negates it. So when you're celebrating with the right people, they understand and value that and appreciate that. So it is important to have that accountability, the right people to celebrate it with. So next week I'd love to get feedback from you on who's using it, who's got value out of it, what are some of the things that you've learned, what are the things that you've done. And I like this, for me, is also one of the things it's practice, and teach what you need to learn. And it's something that I mean, last year we kind of hit a whirlwind of just, it was so busy that I did stop doing the gratitude and wins and things like that, and not doing it on a daily basis. So for me, I'm really, really excited to be able to do this on a daily basis and have that accountability with all of you. So really, really looking forward to that, and just really looking forward to getting everybody's feedback next week as to what they learned, if they've been able to shift, and what are some of the things that have happened, what are the things that they've seen, in terms of mood levels and things like that. And so very, very excited about it. And also just next week, really, really excited. We're going to be looking at the zones and just going into the zones and just talking a little bit more about the zones and where they are, so that we can become a lot more aware of where we are in the zones, where we want to be, and that sort of thing. So so just before we end off, Margriet, is there anything you would like to say or add to anything before we end off?
Thanks, Nicole. I'm super excited about this challenge. this is really really awesome. So well done for you as well for putting it together. And so I would just like to encourage everyone. 30 days sounds like a long time, but it actually just like we know, time flies when you're having fun. So I just like to encourage everyone to actually do it and participate, because it really, for me, doing my gratitude journal every day does help me and does set me up for having a great day. So thanks, Nicole.
Thank you, Margriet. And before we end off, does anybody, if you have any questions, I'd love for you to post them in the chat box. We've got a couple of minutes before we end off. So if you do have any questions, please put them in the chat box. But one of the things that I really just want to encourage you is the goal here is to take something to competence. That's really what we want to do is can you take your mood level to competence? So you can, when you feel that fear and anxiety, can you shift it into gratitude knowingly? And it is important in terms of that, is that we want to create that awareness. We want to create that that awareness in you, so that it's something that you're doing consciously, not subconsciously. And you know, just in terms of, you know, next week, if you haven't registered for the webinar, please do so. We'd love to have you re-register for You Versus You. If you've got any problems or questions, you know, please feel free to email us. It's Nicole at Uncovering Greatness or info@uncoveringgreatness.co.za. So Nicole at uncoveringgreatness.co.za and info@uncoveringgreatness.co.za. And yeah, if you do have any questions and you're not comfortable putting them into the chat box, please feel free to send them through to us privately. More than willing to answer any questions or anything. And so just, yeah, we want to take the knowledge that we have, because I'm pretty sure that everybody has heard about gratitude. Everybody's heard about celebrating wins. Everybody's heard about presence, or maybe some of those things you haven't, but I'm pretty sure that somewhere along the line you've heard of some of those things, and we just don't do them. So because it's those, we need to practice, practice, practice. And the goal is take it to competence, and so that you can do it consciously, you can do it willingly, you can do it knowingly, and you're able to demonstrate it. And I think that's the biggest thing. Can you demonstrate presence every day? Can you demonstrate, you know, shifting that fear into gratitude every day, all the time? And so it's that ability to demonstrate things. So I just want to thank every single one of you for being on the call today. I look forward to getting your feedback, and yeah, just really grateful. Margaret, thank you so much for joining us. It is really, really great to have you. And yeah, just looking forward to seeing you, all of you, back here next week. And yeah, if you're watching on Facebook, we'd love to hear from you. Yeah, but thank you to everybody. Have a great week. Have a green zone week. Practice presence. Practice, practice, practice. Practice gratitude. Practice, practice, practice. Wins. Practice, practice, practice. And then, yeah, we'll get some feedback from all of you next week. So take care and have a green zone week. Thank you so much.